seems to be all you know.
You are now watching Pangea Music with Ty and Andre on Globesville.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Bass God.
Thank
Hold on,
you. Thank you, Bass
Can we
God.
get right here? Thank you, Bass God.
Thank you, Bass
for
God.
a week 8 edition of Pangea Music. I'm
Yeah.
Ty Jenkins.
I'm Andre Dowdy.
And show me the
Money.
nope Ferris wheel.
Oh,
Yep.
damn it.
We're in between weekends 1 and 2 of Coachella.
Yep.
The
Very true.
Festival
very true.
of Arts and Music, beautiful place. That I think
Yes.
that's it behind
Is that?
us.
Is this us? I think.
Are there any dark-skinned hands behind us? Which is completely okay. I just noticed, but it's okay.
So who's on stage right now?
Oh, who knows? Probably just us. But okay. But
Good
weekend 2 is next week. No lineup changes in between, which there usually is, so that's pretty strange.
Yeah, it's identical.
But Coachella, it is financially, apparently, and not size-wise, but financially, it is the biggest festival in America. We host some pretty big ones, Bonnaroo among them.
Bonnaroo, yes, one of them.
What else do we have? We have.
I feel like those are the
South by
two.
Southwest.
Yes. Oh yes. Those would be like the 3 biggest,
Those
I
are
think,
correct.
financially, and then everything else is kind of
Yeah.
more localized.
Yep, this is true.
Hello, Donnie.
Hi.
What do you want? Oh, we're having technical issues. Talking point. Wait, which other hand? What? There we go. There we go. Talking point.
Okay.
I like
But
that. I like that.
so this is a good opportunity to talk about the role or the state of the music festival in America right now.
Yeah.
And it's been a topic of discussion. I guess it is every time around this time of year.
Yeah,
But,
it's festival season.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Coachella poses some interesting questions, and like I said, show me the money. That's where we got to start.
Yeah,
the
man.
cost.
Cost is always important. It's the main factor in whether you go. Next to the lineup, it's the absolute factor.
This is true.
It's the make or
And-
break.
And I think every year it seems to almost go up, and just for the official statistics, this year a weekend pass, the 2 weekend pass for Coachella will set you back $400 for just a regular pass. Yes, $400.
Son.
And a VIP ticket will set you back $800. And this excludes everything. You do not get parking. You do not get anywhere to stay, obviously.
Son.
You can't, there's nothing. You just paid $400 or $800.
I feel like you're gonna need a permit to get your tent if you do that tenting thing.
There will be
or
a,
camping
there will be
thing
a
on
lot
there.
of other, that's the thing, there
Ridiculous.
are a lot
There's
of
other costs to consider.
costs.
There's food, there's parking if you do that, there's getting pitching a tent if you do that. So there's a lot of other factors other than the 800 or 400 you choose to pony up.
And I think the point of that is that corporate interests have become a big part of that, and that's really the reason for the
I feel like
increase.
there's a lot of festivals you'll see that are sponsored. Like I feel like Made in America had a big backing by like Budweiser, I believe.
Yes.
You see Warped Tour has a lot of vendors come in
Yep.
and sponsor the event. So some of it has a lot to do with just who's there and what they can get in return.
And we want to hear from you guys. Tell us about
Yeah.
just the base cost. What does that do to your pocketbook, and how do you combat that as maybe a young festival goer, or someone who does multiple festivals, or someone who travels, or
Are you hustling right now trying to get that Coachella money, or are you like in the trap trying to get that governor's money? Like, let us know. Or you just got it and you're like, oh, festivals.
yeah, I mean, is it much money?
Amen.
So the question here is, has Coachella as a music and arts festival lost its artistic and musical the
value, I guess.
yeah
is the
their
word.
value
Yeah.
because of the corporate sponsorship and all those things? What do you think?
Well, I think maybe not so much because of the corporateness, but I feel like since like the boom of kind of the electronic music scene, a lot of the festivals have kind of lost so much their musicality as much as, or it's lost its musicality and replace of, I don't think that's the proper term, but
Yeah.
and it's shifted over to kind of just this like free-going Bohemian type kind of.
So you think it's more of, you think it's more of a meeting place now than maybe it was.
Yeah, I feel like it's much more like you come and meet. I mean, obviously like-minded people who are interested in music, but like people who just want to go out and just
have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, yeah.
And have the money to do it, apparently.
Yeah, $800 weekend.
Yeah, I mean, $800 just for your ticket. So, but
Crazy.
I guess separate from that, and you talk about the shift over to electronic music. So there's obviously are still acts, but when I was looking at the schedule, there are stages that are devoted, now completely to electronic music. And I wondered, do you think that these festivals are still a place where we can find that talent? Do you think they're still showcases for new talent?
New talent? I want to say yes, because I happen to be going to Governor's Ball in June, and there's a good portion of that lineup that is pretty fresh. I mean, obviously they get to play a little bit earlier in the morning, so like the bigger.
Coachella starts about midday in California, 3-hour difference here.
Governor's Ball starts at about 12.
Okay.
And then the newer, fresher acts are obviously going to be up, the 12 o'clock slots,
they're gonna be
1 o'clock
earlier.
slots, but then the bigger acts go a little bit later. But in terms of like Coachella, I think it's a little bit harder. I mean, there are 3 days, so there's more acts to put in. But I still feel like the acts that they do put in are pretty well known. So
It's
like
it's
it's
not as
like
much of a starting.
it's
off
not like
fest.
you're going into you're going into a festival off your first album, unless you're Haim. But like,
And a few other acts do that. But
yeah,
not
that's true.
likely.
It's not as likely just like straight out.
South by Southwest, I feel like, is a showcase in that way, and I actually have friends that have played it and stuff. And they're
definitely.
much smaller acts, but they do get a chance to get that exposure.
Yeah, that's right.
So in that way, is Coachella? Is it really the preeminent place for music as a showcase, or is it more of that? Let's meet here, and these big guys are playing.
Honestly,
Aaron Paul is in the crowd of the Arcade Fire show wearing the Pope helmet. That was him. No one knew that. I was watching that. I watched that, and there's the guy who's wearing the Pope mask, and he's just like,
He's chilling.
and we find out it's Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, of course. So this is, is it that kind of event?
I want to say yeah. I mean, even for the artists, like when you see like photos from the
everyone's
festival, everyone's
hanging out,
just chilling.
and,
Like
it's all big established acts, I suppose.
I mean, people they go in to put on a show. Then after they're like, "Yo, meet me out at like Arcade Fire show. We're about to chill."
Yeah,
or like
true.
come to Pharrell's show. We're all just gonna jump off stage when he plays Happy because.
Oh God. But okay, so as far as watching the show, being there, or both of us, obviously we're here in New York. We have things that we can do. Things that we have to do. We can't get out there. Streaming has become a huge part of festivals within the last half of a decade. 5 years or so.
Yeah, 5 years sounds fair.
Yeah,
but like even concerts, like, what is the point of going to I mean, concerts like this is a little bit more intimate when it's in a smaller space and you have the chance, really be with the crowd. But for a festival, like, if you can stream all the acts you want to see in the festival, then why
set
bother
yourself
to go?
back
Yeah,
$1,500
exactly.
or
Although, and it's a difference. Like when I watched some of the stream, I got home from work just early enough to see Outkast start their set, and I'm going to see them in June. So why even bother to watch them? I mean, for me, it was a little bit of excitement. I was really excited to see them.
Before we continue, as always on our blog, you can check out the music and the artists and the songs that are being played. I will give you a quick rundown. Earthen Gate by Fuzz. What's in My Head by Fuzz. Evil Bloom and Lost Boys and Girls Club by the Dum Dum Girls. Rosa Parks and Miss Jackson by Outkast.
Classic.
And Love Is to Die and Biggie by Warpaint. These are 4 acts that we saw on the Coachella live stream that we really liked. I saw Ty Segall, who's a member of Fuzz, and the Dum Dum Girls. And Andre, you saw Outkast and Warpaint.
A little bit of Warpaint. I mean, they just looked like they were jamming, which is pretty cool.
Man, when I saw Ty Segall, it was just a huge. It seemed like a huge solo, but it was awesome. Okay, so back to streaming. With streaming now, you're talking about how kind of ominous it is, and how for festivals, is it worth it for you to pay that money?
I think for festivals, yes. For concerts, it's a little bit different.
Okay, so when NPR Music does, Spiritualized at the 930 Club in DC, and they stream that, you think that's an incentive for people not to show up at that show?
Yeah, show up at the show. I mean, it's great for everyone who's not in DC to go see that DC show. But if you're on the fence about like buying a ticket and you're in DC and you're like, oh, I don't have anything to do, or like maybe I can fudge it if I have enough money. Like, I would just be like, oh, great, I have a streaming option. I'm just gonna go watch that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because streaming, I don't think is as prevalent. Yeah, with single shows, obviously there's so many shows every night.
Yeah.
all over America, so we're not getting that. Maybe one day we will, which would be a whole nother thing. But not everywhere is as well covered as Coachella, who had, I want to say, 3 live streams for every time slot, and there's only about 6 acts sometimes within that time slot all across the festival, because it is a really big festival. There's a lot of acts that we don't get to see. So, I wonder. And I watched the South by Southwest live stream. I wonder if it's going to get to a point where there's so much being streamed as far as the big festivals that their viewers, that their attendance goes down. And we will see that.
I mean, it is a big festival though. And there was 3 channels all trying to cover different stages.
Yeah.
It's a big festival. So I mean, I can understand how that works successfully.
So you're saying, so you were saying it. You don't know if it's worth it for people to go to the festival. So let's talk about
on the fence people. You might not be able to buy them out by just having that streaming option.
So I want to ask some questions about why people think they. Well, I want to kind of have a conversation about what people, why people go. So if you guys are out there and you guys have been to any festivals, why do you go? We talked about the money already, so you can talk about that. But when you're at the festival, when you're leaving the festival, what is your, what's that feeling inside of you that makes you really want to be there? And a few things that I had obviously read about, and I've been to festivals and also, single shows. I went to Governor's Ball a few years ago, but that was a long time ago. I've also I saw Joan Jett and them over at, Shirley actually used to have a festival right in my hometown.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Wow. Shout out Shirley.
Yeah, so that was also, I saw Joan Jett. I also saw, the guys that made, not Run DMC, I wish. No, I didn't see Run DMC. I saw, Naughty by Nature.
Oh,
yes,
son, okay.
Yes, I did. Okay. And a bunch of other stuff. But cool. So you're going to Governor's Ball this year?
Yeah, I'm going to Bowl. I went last year. Last year was a bit of a mess.
All the mud.
Yeah, man. Man, hold on. I'm going to walk over this camera right over here and show you my pants. Because, all right, I will explain. Governor's Ball last year was a mess in the sense that I think there was a monsoon that was coming that weekend. So, we go there and it's light rain, Everything's, all right, it's a little muddy, but, what do you do? Whatever, you just get some boots, you're all right. Then about maybe halfway into the day, it starts pouring.
I know a lot of people that were out there, and just the fact that it's on an island, I think is kind of an issue.
Dude, it's just mud, and there's just nowhere to go. And you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's just rain falling, the mud is slowly eating shoes. I saw shoes stranded in the mud.
And people just left them.
People just ditched them.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of to the aesthetic of the festival, and Governor's Ball is a much smaller scale. So that kind of makes me think of that Bohemian. I think we said that before. The Bohemian aspect of a festival like Coachella, or people who did Camp Disco, which is now gone. That festival is no longer happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, replaced by Hudson Project. But what is that experience about? What's appealing? I was thinking kind of an innate sense of freedom in nature, kind of this Bohemian aspect, which I think from the outside in, when we're talking about our parents or our grandparents, just oh, you're going to that, it's all hippies, it's just drugs.
Yeah, because everyone for those who are really into that kind of culture, everyone hails Woodstock as the epitome of
So I think it's interesting that older generations kind of will see these festivals as when I don't really think there has ever been more drugs anywhere than in Woodstock. but so I don't know, that innate sense of just being together and kind of this.
I mean, that's why I'm going. You're going to be around a bunch of people who really just appreciate music and want to go see the music. And then there's the other people who are just kind of there to just be in the presence of massive amounts of people all just trying to have fun. So I think it's just generally a win-win.
I think it's an interesting paradox, just because we talked about how much money it takes to go to Coachella.
There,
So how Bohemian is it? And I think this is the most interesting question. How Bohemian is it? Is the new Bohemian, because Bohemian is kind of associated, but Bohemian, I feel is kind of associated with a hippie kind of just scraping by kind of. And are you really free living if you have to you have to have $1,500 to be at this event?
Yeah, at Coachella.
Yeah, and then there's people who obviously have more, but anyone who's there, you can. I don't really see how you could be there without that.
I mean, times are a little bit different now. I mean, incomes are a little different, but still, like, if you're working at McDonald's, you're trying to, like, get, like, $250 to go to this governor's ball event, like,
yeah, and
that's a good chunk of your paycheck, bro. That's a good chunk of your
So
funds.
have they priced out some people who genuinely love music? Have they priced out, what is it now? Is it just an event? Is it like most events, I think, now, or the way that we perceive them, just a place for, rich people? I can't go to a Knicks game and sit anywhere close to anything anymore because they're good, of course. A few years ago I sat seventh row at the Clippers game, and, I've done a bunch of stuff that has to do with games. But the point being, right now, at this very moment, yes, I cannot sit in the seventh row at Madison Square Garden anywhere behind the basket, or obviously not.
I don't think I can even get like remotely near.
Yeah,
the court.
I was looking. Those tickets are within, they're like 10 grand.
Yeah, well, especially playoff season, dude.
Yeah, so Coachella, obviously not to that extent, but it's at
You're like the festival season is like playoff season for all of the musical acts.
So that shows how much less music is valued than sport.
Yeah.
And we know about that because there's no, Arcade Fire doesn't have an $80 million contract from, the Yankees. But okay, back to what we were saying.
Okay.
So where are we as far as that goes?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the pricing's not like way out there, but like for the 3-day pass, like $250 is a little bit steep for like us going to governor's ball. It's just too steep. If it was like $200, I think a lot more people would be more game to it or more hip to it. But I don't know, that extra $50 just kind of makes it, I don't know. And then you have to consider transportation, whether it be by water taxi, whether it's, whether you're getting a parking pass, whether you're taking public transportation, you got to factor that in. And then you got food, you got to sustain yourself.
Yep.
So these are all just things, and then there's alcohol if you want to do that.
Yeah, if you want to drink alcohol.
Alcohol.
So, I mean, I'm wondering, is $1,000 the new Bohemian?
Yeah, I guess.
And how does music figure into it?
Where else do like the Bohemians kind of fit in that kind of free reigning kind of event?
Yeah. So whether or not this is the Dum Dum Girls, but
hello, Dum Dum Girls.
Another thing that festivals really bring up is, reasons why people go, and this is something just from the different reading that I've done, and also going. I feel like it's a place to be ahead of the trends, to beat the trends. That has become part of the sport of going to festivals. And you were and we were having a conversation earlier, and you were talking to me about your recent festival experiences. And I don't go to many. My next festival will probably be, when I'm done with school sometime, I'll probably hit Coachella in like 3 years.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, so
tent?
Something I personally don't like to talk about that because I really am about like the music, and I don't want to be in a situation where we're talking about something that is immaterial to the music. But I feel like it's come to represent bragging rights, and for the writers who get to see all the acts maybe for free, and blah blah blah.
I mean, if for any concert you go to, just say you've seen someone live, shows that you're a little bit of a dedicated fan.
Okay.
And you've got bragging rights because you've done it.
But
I know it's weird, but like say you're talking about like Lou Reed, like I got the chance. I actually did get the chance to see Lou
awesome.
Reed.
Yeah, no.
I saw Lou Reed before he died.
That's awesome. That is
that.
And I am like jealous. This is true.
I mean, I don't even know.
Do you feel like festival? Yeah, then that's another thing. So do you feel like festivals are a breeding ground for that type of
like
attitude?
Bragging right attitude.
Yeah, well, yeah, people who not like you do it, but I mean, like people who
there
literally
are some people
brag,
like, bro, I went to Coachella. Like there are people like
I went to Coachella 07, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, I saw Radiohead like after their 9th album, not their 10th. Your name. Like,
it's definitely gonna be those people. It's always gonna be those people, dude. And sometimes like maybe I'll come up.
That's my imitation of someone who lives in Brooklyn and works at the Pet Panda place.
I was at Coachella in 1999.
Yeah, so it's like,
who's even popping?
What? Yeah, we don't have to. Okay.
No.
But we're looking for answers. Do you brag about your Coachella experiences? Do you tell all your friends, oh, you were at 08, you were at 07? And why?
Do you brag?
Yeah, are you a bragger? Are you an elitist? I think is the question. Are you what's wrong with society? Get back to us. You can get in touch with us at Globesville.
You can answer that question at
Instagram, Twitter,
Facebook. Oh, right there. There it is. Boom.
At Globesville, we're here.
That's the Twitter handle. That's you put that right slash after Facebook, and you put that in there,
Yep.
and then we'll be there.
You can contact us personally on our Twitters at neveradoubt, DOUGHT.
I think it's No Doubt. I don't even know.
It's
what my
never
Twitter
a doubt.
handle- It's Never a Doubt. You
Is
know
it
that?
never a doubt?
It's not
and
never.
James
whatever.
Kennedyism, JamesKennedyism, and that is on Twitter.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we're on all social media. So hit us up. We'll eventually get all this stuff recorded and written on our blog, which will be on the Globesville website.
Next week we will be in the
yeah.
Sultan Cafe for a live show.
Yeah, man. We're just gonna switch it up a little bit, get that live feel.
We'll be talking about the 90s.
Yeah, we'll be doing that Throwback Thursday.
Yes,
going
that's
in the
what's
90s. Getting you with some real 90s stuff.
Have we?
Real raw
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, should we throw a question out to them now? No, we should make them wait.
Yeah. Throw it out there. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. For next week, if you're an older folk, we have Donnie over here. He's a little bit older. Usually Rob is in here.
Look at that, just
Yeah, but a little bit older. In the 90s versus now, we want to talk about buying music and owning music, and what are your memories and what are your ideas about how things have changed, and where do you think it's going? I mean, you know,
do you own
you guys know
music
better than
anymore?
we do. I mean, we're younger. We're younger guys.
We're the young bloods. Do you even own music anymore? What's the point of owning music?
Yeah, we can talk about all of those things next week when you see us, but until then, I think we're out of here.
Yeah, man. Peace!
See you later.